G'day and welcome to the GameDay Squad NRL Fantasy Show. I'm Dyl, that's Stu, and we are the Fantasy Bros, and we're excited to once again partner with GameDay Squad this NRL season to bring you all you need to know to succeed in GDS Rugby League. It's Sunday. You know what that means. It's the favorite part of our week. It is the FantasyBros Sunday Showdown. Welcome to everyone that's joining us. Obviously, a little bit of a different video clip to get us started in a very small runway. So we'll make sure that we get a few people in here. But Stu, mate, how you going? How's your weekend shaping up after pretty much most of the full rounds done and dusted?
Yeah, g'day, Dyl. It's nice to have back to the 8-game slate. We were teased a little bit, I think, in round one with the 2 games in Vegas and then just the 6 games. But it's been an action-packed weekend. Still plenty of points being scored. I think there's an over-under for this afternoon's 5-15 game. I think it is. 61 points is the over-under from a betting perspective. So I can't remember the last time we've seen that, but that's been the theme from round one, and it hasn't let up in round 2. And that just means there's been plenty of points on offer for the football sides, but also for our game day squad teams as well. I think a lot of coaches are going to get some very big scores this week as a result. And yeah, my teams are tracking along pretty nicely. No real bad performances yet. No, replication of the Drinky, no Jaden Campbell debacle just yet. And I've got a handful of a whole heap of players playing this afternoon. So I'm just going to hope that there's plenty of base stats and plenty of attacking football available this afternoon. How's your weekend been?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I was sitting quite pretty yesterday in first in the under 24s, but couldn't quite pick a couple of players. I missed Fainu. Obviously, he had a big game. Was looking barnstorming. But I'm sitting quite nicely in Challenger at the moment, which is actually my pod side. So I've had a couple of little headaches early with do I play certain players that were in my champion side, drop them into the Challenger side. So hopefully continue on with that pod sort of team and see how we go. I think I'm sitting 4th overall in the season and 7th for the round. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, it's going to be a big day today. Looking outside, we are in Queensland where, as we said last week, we're about 25 minutes, half an hour from Suncorp Stadium, and it is perfect skies this afternoon. None of that rubbish that we had last week. So we're probably going to expect a massive game. But before we get there, we've got to head over to Four Pines where the Seagulls are going to have a massive test up against the Newcastle Knights that haven't played for a few weeks. But before we do that, let's make sure we welcome in all our new users. If you are not familiar with the Game Day Squad, make sure you jump over to the website or download the app. That is Game Day Squad. Make sure you sign up using our promo code FBRL26. That's going to get you 3x9 player common packs to get all of your Dynasty squads started. It is a Dynasty platform, so you can keep all of those cards until each of those players retires, or you sell or trade those cards as well. The best thing we love about Game Day Squad, it's very different to every other fantasy platform. If you have a rubbish week, there's a clear all button and you can start all over again the following week. You don't need to think about price rises in the next 3 games or whether someone is about to come into a side. You can just chop and change as you please, especially if you wake up on a Sunday and think, man, Cobbo is going to have an absolute cracker game today. You can come and bring him in before it's too late, and it doesn't cost you a thing. So make sure you get involved with all of the fun. There's plenty of competitions to get involved with for new users as well. We've got the starter competition as well as classic contender, or if you've been around for a while, you can start to build up and play in some of the high rarity comps as well. Mate, do you want to talk to viewers about the big new segment, our Whinge Alert?
Yeah. Whose idea was this? Was this yours from last week? Because there's a couple of prominent names on screen and no bigger than that first man there and a prize card, no less as well. So I think this is a great opportunity for you to, in the smaller circles around work and around our sort of friendship group, of being the guy that does enjoy a good whinge just to let some steam off. So this is the perfect segment for you. I'll always throw in a name as well, but this one's mostly for you, mate. I'll begin with my Harry Grant. Let's just start simple. I think a few people might be in the same boat as me. Let us know in the chat. Ganners and Michael Cozzi are here. Thanks for joining us, guys. Let us know if you're here as well. Anyone else not able to get the Harry Grant selections right? Not just this season, but this stems into last season as well. I think I've said a few times just how often I select Harry Grant. And whenever I do, it just seems like he doesn't quite get the job done. Maybe like a high 30s or a low 40s, and you're just left a little bit disappointed. I've started the season with different hookers. I've gone Blake Brayley in round 1 and then Damien Cook yesterday. And Damien Cook was obviously up against Harry Grant. But Harry Grant's found the try line, 3 tries in 2 games now. He's got a couple of try assists close to the line, and he's outscored those 2 blokes pretty comfortably in the first 2 rounds. So I just can't get this bloke right. Obviously, I rate him as the best hooker in the competition, but from a fantasy perspective, we always talk about his missed tackles and the fact that, Brayley and Cookie will get through the work, and they're probably a little bit more reliable in terms of their tackle efficiency. Dill, I'm going to Harry Grant next week. They're up against the Bronx. There's going to be plenty of points scored there. Anyone else who's jumping on the Harry Grant train with me after 3 tries in 2 matches and 2 big scores, I'm sorry in advance. We might have a double up of Harry Grant this time next Sunday. Let's hope not. There's enough about him. Tell me about your 2 blokes.
Mate, I'm actually loving this sort of preemptive whinge for next week. Getting in nice and early.
I'm learning from the best.
Yeah, I love it. It works in my favor quite often. The best whinge when it happens mid-game, I whinge, and then my player scores a try or does something unreal. There's nothing better. But yeah, look, just make sure you let viewers know each and every week whether you're playing Harry Grant or not, because we might just do the opposite and we might go with Brayley or Simpkin or even Cook until Little comes back. Yeah, look, my whinge is a massive one. And again, it's similar to last week. The Warriors go out and have an unreal game, and unfortunately, I wasn't around the late news. I didn't quite get there in time, and Kurt Capewell obviously out with the injury. Leka Halasima comes into the starting side last minute, and I completely missed the boat with that one. He would have been straight into my probably 3 of my teams, the Challenger, under 24s, and then probably that Friday night, the Stats Lab prime time as well. And unfortunately, I do have his prize cards sitting there. There was a pretty good reason why I picked him. It was for his potential of 80 minutes and his try scoring upside as well. And unfortunately, I completely missed the boat with that. He ended up, what did he get? 80 minutes on the edge. He's 35 tackles, 6 tackle breaks, 117 running meters, and then 2 tries to boot, just to make sure that 74 odd points didn't go into my side. So yeah, I'm kicking myself for that, because it would have been the first real opportunity I got to use that prize card, and it would have looked lovely in my challenger side. But look, nonetheless, that's the ups and downs of GameDay Squad, the ups and downs of fantasy. You've got to be on the pulse at every minute to make sure that you get those players in last minute. But yeah, unfortunately, not this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he gets named on that edge. He plays 80 minutes next week. We've got a massive game coming up, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, I think we've got to start watching the pre-game dressing room footage, 2 minutes before they run out, just for those late injury concerns. If we had got a glimpse of Kurt Capewell there with an ice pack around his calf or something, we might have been able to do a quick pivot. I think we've gotten to the game, the kickoff, the ball's in play, and a couple of times the commentators have let us know who the late out is, and we're so fortunate for the donut dropping the worst score, dropping out of our squads to get rid of that donut just in case it happens against us. But on this occasion, he would have been a handy pod, would not have been played by many at all, and you could have rolled out that prize card in Challenger. What could have been, if he's named on the bench, named on the starting team next week, he's going to be a pretty popular play, I think. 100%.
100%. Look, we've got a few comments coming in. Sean Walcott, Walkies, as we affectionately know him, he said he's dropping Hudson Young, so that's a pretty good drop out of the side from that, the best 17 from your 18, so that's not too bad. We've got Ganners as well. He says Couchman's just Max King with PR. I love that statement. That's really good. Obviously Couchman there as well. Look, just a reminder, those people that are watching, if you do comment on the show today, you're going to go into the draw to win one of 3 cards we've got for the Sunday Showdown. We've got a gold Katoa, a gold Tino, and a plat Cobbo. If you're keen for any of those cards, make sure you comment. Get your comments in, who you're playing, who you're not playing in the Sunday Showdown. We've got about 25 minutes until the first game kicks off, and then we'll spend a bit of time here having a chat about footy, and we'll give some cards away. Yeah, that Toby Couchman obviously was highly touted coming into the season, had a massive season last year. We talked about him quite a lot pre-season, and he really hasn't stepped up to those expectations. He hasn't met those expectations. It's actually his brother that's been doing all the stepping up. He's been on fire, Ryan Couchman, and I have played Toby twice in the last 2 weeks. Once in some of my regular full round sides, and then obviously in the under 24 sides as well, both weeks. And I'm starting to think that maybe he's just not an option at the moment based on his output and his minutes. Is that sort of where you're thinking with Toby Couchman? Are we keen to pivot to Ryan Couchman yet, or are we just going to wait and see a couple more weeks?
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it? I think the minutes is just so strange at the moment. Now, I think he played 33 straight in that first half and was going okay, mid to high 20s, just in pure base. But then only saw 9 minutes at the end of the game, and it was almost like, well, is he injured? Is he coming back at all? And then he was out there for the last 9 minutes. It seemed really inconsequential, particularly when the Storm were just rolling through the Storm. The Storm were rolling through the Dragons right at the end there. You would have expected someone as good as Toby Couchman to sort of be out there and assisting with that defense. But yeah, you're right. It's Ryan Couchman. He spends a bit of time on the bench, and then 57 straight maybe for a massive, mid to high 50 score. He's definitely someone that we'll need to look at moving forward. Definitely in that under 24 competition though.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, let's get into what we're here for, and that's the Sunday Showdown, obviously. Let's have a look at teams for this first game. We've obviously got the starting 19, I guess you want to call it, now that we've got the extended bench. But we do have the Seagulls up against the Knights, playing off today over at Four Pines. The Seagulls, 1-13 is standard. Then we've got Joey Walsh has dropped out of that 14. So for me, it makes Jake Simpkin an almost must play in the Sunday Showdown. I'm really keen to have him in the side. Then over on the Knights, we've got 1-12. Matt Croker comes in at lock for Tyson Frizzell, who drops back to the bench. Is there any movement now based on there with Matt Croker? You're pretty keen to get him into your side or drop Tyson Frizzell out, or is that not really an issue for you, Stu?
No, not a big issue for me. Not any guys that were really in consideration for me. But I think the main news there is obviously that Jake Simpkin probably a little bit more assured that he will see that 80. There is Brendan Wakeham on the bench there for the Sea Eagles. But 80 minutes from Jakey Simpkin might be a lot more likely now, and throwing some extra salary on him will probably pay dividends. There's not too much to love for the Knights forward pack there, other than Trey Mooney, Dylan Lucas. They're probably staples in people's teams. But no, the late shift for me doesn't mean too much. I think they'll share some minutes around there, and Jacob Saifidi could get a decent amount as well. But no love for Croker or Frizzell for me.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. It's so tough that Joey Walsh has dropped out of that side, because we really want to see the young bloke have a really good crack at it. But it does mean that Jake Simpkin probably wrapped up that 80 minutes for sure, and it means that potentially some salary there. The other argument or the discussion that I think is going to be a big one is whether we play Cooler after his massive game last week, or whether we go back to Garrett, knowing what we can expect from Garrick in the past, although he has lost the kicking duties. Is that a big shift for you, that in particular Garrick not having those kicking duties, not going up in threes? Does that make him really unattractive pick now?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I just think, to be honest, Cooler is a better footballer as well, more conducive to fantasy football point scoring. He can break tackles. He's got incredible speed. If there's a half break, Turbo or a Ford or Simpkin, through the middle of the field, Cool is typically that first person there, given the speed. So I just think that, he's just a better footballer. And if things go Manly's way and they do score some points, we know Tommy likes to sort of favour that left-hand side. And we saw last week, Garrick was not doing a lot. He was tackling a little bit, but when he's not kicking goals and going up in threes, there's no safety there. So, I think the upside is on Cooler. We obviously saw Garrick score, 4 tries in one of the early rounds last season. So he's definitely capable if Manly get rolling and they favour that right-hand side. But no, the desire to bring Garrick into a team is so low at the moment. He's going to have to show something in attack, or probably get those goal kicking duties back, which would mean, an unfortunate injury maybe to Jamal Fogarty.
Yeah, and talking about Jamal Fogarty, I think he's going to be someone that's probably picked quite highly today, and we're going to talk about some percentages picked and selected. It's important to note that we have seen some of the percentages of selections, and there's still a lot of coaches that have bunnies left in their side from last week.
Yeah.
We've also got a few Panthers in the side. I'm not quite sure why. So make sure you make those changes before this game kicks off. It is a rolling lockout, obviously, for the next game as well. But this game's kicking off in about 15 or so minutes' time. You want to make sure you get all of those players that aren't playing out of there. But you also want to have a full team. So I understand if you don't have all the players that you need, there might be some times where you might have to just chuck it in a silver player of some description to make sure you fill up those numbers. But yeah, just a word of warning, it is only the 4 teams today. So the Seagulls, the Knights, the Titans and the Dolphins. And as we've already said, the Dolphins-Titans game look like there's going to be plenty of points in it. It's probably where a lot of coaches are going to go today. Look, just jumping back to the rules around the FantasyBros Sunday Showdown for anyone that is new to the competition, it is a 12 mil salary cap. So the rarities that you are allowed is silver all the way through to special cards, but no prize cards. There is a one special card limit. The rarities, I think, the salary cap make it really interesting for where you want to put salary on. You can have a couple of platinums, a couple of golds, and then the rest silver. You can load up on a few more golds and less platinums. The only one that you can have only one of, besides the special card, is the diamond. So we will talk about our Sunday Superstar, where we're going to put all of that salary in terms of that diamond on. At times, you might not even play the diamond. You might want to spread that salary out even further and allow more platinums, etc. So there's a few different strategies involved here. Is that something that you're considering as well, or are you making sure you're loading up on one particular player in terms of that diamond that you think is really going to go off?
Yeah, I think the strategy will change most weeks depending on which teams are featuring. For example, I don't think you have to force a diamond into your lineup this week unless it comes from probably that second game. I'll be speaking about a player I do like in the first game. But look, if the Penrith Panthers are playing, I think it's pretty obvious you'd put a Nathan Cleary diamond in your side if you could. The Brizzy Bronx, you'd probably look to try to get a Payne Haas in there, just given that their consistency and their upside as well. So, no, I think it'll be quite flexible week on week, and there's got to be a standout player to load that diamond on. I don't think you have to throw in a diamond just because you own one. You might just want to, throw some different salary on some few blokes and hope they just have some upside. If you put it all on one guy and he flops, then you might be down the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing to consider is we've got 5 other competitions that you can be involved in across the regular competitions, the full round slate, as well as the Stats Lab Prime Time, which has an open salary as well. So there's no limit on the cards that you can play there. And then we've got the under-24 competition. It makes it quite difficult. We get to Sunday and maybe you don't have any diamonds left. So you've got to spread that rarity out a little bit more. So that's always a thing that I think is going to be important as well. Is do you play your diamonds, let's say Hammer, for example, that you might play today? Do you play them in your regular side because you might be in a chance to win champion or challenger even, or do you look to play them in the Sunday Showdown where you could go on to win up to $5,000, which that is the grand prize for the winner of the Sunday Showdown. And look, the way we can win that's a little bit different to every other competition. If you win 1 week of Sunday Showdown, you make it into the finals. And then that final is a single elimination head-to-head competition where the last person standing, the last coach standing, is the winner of that $5,000. So there is a lot on the line. There is a lot to play for. And you just have to jag 1 win to really get into that chance to have an opportunity. So it's obviously going to be super important the way that you balance your sides each and every week. And I think as we start to go throughout the season, I'm going to get a little bit more desperate and probably playing a little bit more strategic as we go on, because I'll definitely want to be there at the end of this competition for sure. Alrighty, let's jump in and point of difference. And you can see there on screen, we've actually got some percentages now. We've been able to get some information from the Stats Lab, our good friend JT and co over at the Stats Lab. Make sure if you aren't involved there, make sure you head to their website, thestatslab.app, where you can find all the latest information and player data to help you win some unreal prizes. Look, the big ones for me are the 3 that we've got on screen. Keanu Kinney owned at 12% at the moment, Max Platt owned at 10%, and Jermaine McEwen at 10%. Do you want to talk us through Keanu Kinney? You were super high on him at the beginning of the season. Obviously, there's been a big shift there now from the Titans for a number of reasons. Jaden Campbell probably being the big one, but also just the way the Titans have been playing. Talk us through why Keanu Kinney is going to be a big point of difference.
Yeah, the Titans team is so much different without Jaden Campbell there. They're so much better in attack and moving the ball around the field. And that's when Keanu Kinney can really excel and score some big points. At the moment, he's probably just relying on the base points, and that's maybe why coaches have looked to fade him, but 12% is way too low in my opinion. It's not because he's a bad footballer. Maybe it's because there are 3 other really good fullback options that people are choosing, and he's just the odd man out there. But look, if 40 points, which what he scored last week, if that's his base, if that's his floor, when his team gets beaten by 50 points, then Keanu Kinney's going to have a big season. He got the 1 try assist. He made 4 tackle breaks, a couple of offloads. He actually made 7 tackles. And as a fullback, that's pretty good as well. But only the 97 run meters. So all of those stats across the board were pretty low compared to what we expect from him or when the Titans are performing. Look, the Sharkies just turned up and were so good early on that the Gold Coast Titans just didn't have a sniff. So 40 points where they got smacked without a try, without topping 100 run meters. If anything, I think that means he's primed for a big game. The conditions are a lot better this week. The Dolphins just allowed 40 points against the Bunnies last weekend. I think the Titans are going to find a bit more space, a bit more freedom, and that's when Keanu Kinney breaks tackles, runs plenty of meters, and scores tries.
Yeah, I agree. I think the big thing, though, as you said, you said it right at the start, that we've got 3 other massive fullback options that are probably. Look, I can say this: they're in a much better team. They're in a much better position. They're in a much better. Particularly a forward pack, I think, as well. That although the Seagulls, they have their own issues there, but I think Keanu Kinney is going to struggle a little bit until the Titans can find some form. He's going to be a shining light. Don't get me wrong. As you said, he still was able to get a try assist along with those 4 tackle breaks and 100 more, just less than 100 running meters. So he's still going to be involved. I just think that there's some better options out there. But that means that he really is a perfect point of difference. All it requires is him to score a 60 plus, and someone like a Kalen Ponga or Toby Trbojevic not score so well, and you've got yourself a really good boost into that Sunday showdown. So, I think Keanu Kinney is a really good play. My play that I'm pretty keen on, and it's obviously going to come down to where that man is named. It's Max Plath. We see him returning to the NRL after a pretty lengthy off season and lengthy sidelines, sitting on the bench for a long period of time with that injury. I get this feeling we might see a little switcheroo with Schneider. Schneider currently named at hooker. I wouldn't put it past Christian Wolf to bring Max Plath into hooker and potentially have that dummy half role, and then maybe drop back to lock as well, give Morgan Knowles a bit of a spell potentially. We know we've seen Max Plath play a range of positions through the middle as well as on the edge. We've seen him play dummy half a number of times as well. So if he is named to start at all, I think I'm definitely jumping on him, because at the moment he's only 10% owned, and it's because that he's named on the bench that he's probably that low owned. But I think if we can get him playing in the middle or on the edge or even at dummy half, I think there's every chance that he plays 80 minutes. In 9 games when he started at hooker in 2024, he averaged just over 65, 70, almost 70 minutes, and he averaged 51 GS points per game in those 9 games. So we know that he's got the capacity. He loves to tackle. He loves to compete. He's pretty tenacious. So, if we see him in that starting side, he's going to be a player that I'm going to bring in straight away. It's going to mean that one of probably the Dolphins props or middles will drop out of my side. Is he someone you're keen on as well?
Oh, yeah. 90 minutes before kickoff, that team list coming out is going to be really important for me. I hope he does move into that number 9 jersey. Brad Schneider was obviously just the guy that they had to call on last week, sort of in the last minute there. He made 45 tackles. We did laugh at Longy for having to play him in his halves. Just the 33 points. Wasn't amazing, but not awful, let's be honest. But 4 missed tackles, didn't really get much going in terms of getting a roll on, 31 run meters. I don't think they'll want Brad Schneider playing big minutes. I think he had 67 there at hooker last week. So if Max Plath is ready to go, throw him in that number 9 jersey, please. And let's just get him tackling and being nice and creative around the ruck there. If he definitely gets named to start, even in the back row or something, I'll definitely play him. But if he's not, I'll just have to watch him for 1 week. And he might have a big game, but it's tough playing a guy off the bench when you're a bit uncertain. He hasn't played in a while, so you don't know what the minutes are going to be like. 90 minutes out, let's get him named in the 9. Otherwise, I might just have to put a line through him.
Yeah, and look, we continue talking about it, but the bench is so tough. We've got the 6-man bench and only 4 blokes can come on. We've seen quite a few sort of half centre wingers go down and they're carrying this extra skill player on the bench and they come into the side and one of the forwards misses out and you just don't want that to happen with Max Plath or anyone really that you play in your side. You don't want to end up with that donut. The benefit is that they will drop out of your side, but you'd rather have as many scoring players as possible and you lose a 45 or a 50 rather than a 0 from your side. So yeah, it's always a tough watch and you just don't know exactly what's going to happen with those bench players. Let's jump into some salary pods. And for those that are new to Fantasy Bros, salary pods are players that we are keen to load up the salary on because we think a lot of people are going to be playing those. So our point of difference rather than a different player is going to be that rarity where the players that you can see on screen, Tommy Trbojevic, Jamal Fogarty and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui are quite highly owned. We sort of expected to be more owned, but as I said, there's still a lot of players or a lot of coaches that have blokes that aren't playing in the Sunday Showdown at the moment in their side. So you want to make sure that you fix that up. And obviously these numbers are going to continue to change as people chop and change their sides all the way up to the last minute. But Tommy Trbojevic there, 55% owned. Is that someone that you're loading salary up on and why?
Yeah, definitely. That number really surprised me as well. I think that was about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes out from kickoff. So you'd expect that to be a bit higher. To be honest, I'm surprised that's not, much closer to 100. Manly playing in the sunshine there at Four Pines Park. Turbo's fully fit, no injury concerns, full off season, was electric last week. All of those boxes are ticked. I think you've got to play Tommy whenever he's in that sort of form, whenever there's no adversity in terms of a personal health thing for him. If there's a niggle or, he doesn't train or something, that's when you might start to and ah. But started the season while things are fresh, while he's coming off a nice big, 79 points there against the Raiders in the wet, mind you, with a try, 2 try assists, 190 run meters. Geez, what can he do, at home there in the sunshine against a Newcastle Knights team that were improved, but certainly have their defensive frailties as well. That number should be closer to 100 come kickoff, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by the number. He obviously had a massive game last week, as you said, in the wet as well. And when out Four Pines, the Seagulls obviously have a great record at Four Pines. And Tommy Trbojevic, there's obviously always going to be a question mark over his health and how fit he is. But I think he sort of shook that off last week. I reckon he stood up and had a massive game and he led the Seagulls almost to a victory. Your boys were just able to claw it back last minute there, which was great to see. But yeah, I'm really surprised. And I'm sure if we got some data through now, it'd probably suggest that number's soaring closer to 70. Look, talk to me about Jamal Fogarty for a minute. How do you reckon he went in his debut for his new club? And was it hard to watch him in anything but the mighty green?
Yeah, I know he played a bit of time at the Titans, but whenever I picture Jamal Fogarty, I see him in a Raiders jersey, obviously. He just looks so weird there in that Manly Sea Eagles jersey. 45 points last week against his old side was okay, but that did contain a try. I think for me it was the defence. 20 tackles made, but 6 missed tackles. So that's just +2 in terms of tackling. He'll definitely want to shore up that in order to make sure those fantasy points are a little bit higher. And look, if you only missed 2 or something, then that would have been a nice little, 12 or 15 points added onto that score. And then you're talking mid to high 50s, which is definitely respectful there. Just the 343 kicking meters as well. Obviously a bit harder in conditions that weren't favourable for moving the ball downfield, that sort of thing last week. So I think the kicking numbers will be a little bit higher this week. I think he's a solid play and someone I expected to be a bit higher as well, given we don't have, the superstars in the halfback position. Definitely some very good players, but, no real Kalen Ponga, Tommy Trbojevic, Hammer, Tabuai Fido type players there.
Yeah, 100%. I agree a lot. Jamal Fogarty, 5 goals last week as well. So we obviously saw him take the kicking tee from Ruben Garrick. That, for me, makes him probably the best option in the halves. And why I'm probably going to load up a little bit of salary on him. I'm not going to go all the way up to the flat necessarily, but I'm going to just put a little bit more on him. I think even though there's a lot of points to be had at Suncorp this afternoon, I feel like that both of these teams are much improved from what we thought they were going to be in terms of the Seagulls and the Knights. And I feel like it's going to be a bit of a battle up front early, and then I think as they tie, as we see in the past, we're going to see a few little sneaky runs from Jamal Fogarty, from Trbojevic as well. So I think there's going to be plenty of points to be had. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to get Fogarty into my side with that kicking upside. As you say, it's not great to look at when 45 points and that includes a try. That's a little bit hard to see, but hopefully with the improved conditions, the chemistry with the team as well, having that first hit out, I think we'll be better for it. Let's just quickly switch across. We'll come back to Tino in a moment. Let's just switch across quickly to our consensus team, because we're about 5 minutes away from kickoff and people might want to have a look at who we're keen on in our at least starting 13. So in the forward pack, we've got Trey Mooney and Tommy Flegler at the moment as our middles. We've also got Jake Simpkin in the hooker role. Then our back rowers, we've got Hamole Olakauatu, and we've got Dylan Lucas, of course, and then Tino locking the scrum. In our halves, our two main ones there are Jamal Fogarty and Izzy Katoa. Our backs in our centres, we've got Farmworth and that man Cooler that we spoke about earlier. And then our wingers are going to be Marju and Isako. I think Isako's kicking in dry conditions. Sun's out. I think it's going to be massive. And then Hammer in the fullback role. Obviously, that's our starting 13. We do include the bench as well on top of that, but that's where you might want to play a couple of those pods there. There's also probably a little asterisk there for Tom Flegler as well, depending on what happens with Maxi Plath. So that could change as well. So if that's something that you needed to see to make sure you can make some last minute decisions, we'll leave that on screen a little bit. Is there anyone in particular there, Stu, that you wanted to talk about that you're really keen on, or maybe it might be a little bit different come time of kickoff?
No, not so much about who's on screen, but who's not on screen. Maybe that third halves position might be an interesting pick for some coaches. We probably don't want to go near a Titans player. Cody Nikorima, do you hope that he can put on a show up on at Suncorp Stadium in the sunshine? Or Dill Brown, did he show enough last week? Obviously, Kalen Ponga and Fletcher Sharp, when he was on, were definitely the chief playmakers there. Brown, just the 29 GDS points with 21 tackles, 5 missed, and 125 run meters. That didn't show a lot of confidence. Where are you looking for your third middle there? Obviously, Katoa and Fogarty. We've got 1, 2.
Yeah, there's not too many options, and I think I'm going to land on Dill Brown just because we have seen in the past how creative he can be and how much he can take control of the game. We obviously didn't see that necessarily last week because of that chop and change between Fletcher, or 2 weeks ago, really, because of that chop and change between Fletcher Sharp and Sanders Smith with Sharp going off. I feel like Dylan Brown will probably take a little bit more control. So I'm going to lean with him at the moment. The stats sort of don't really say anything either. Both the Sea Eagles sort of give up, based on last week, they didn't give up too many points to the halves, 27.7 points across the two halves there. So it doesn't really tell a good story about what the Sea Eagles might be able to give up. So it's probably nothing to go off in terms of the stats right now, but it's just probably more of a vibe play that I think Dill Brown take a little bit of control. His connection with Kalen Ponga will be one game better. I think maybe the key for the Knights is obviously those two playing extremely well. Sanders Smith's a great bloke. We've seen some unreal games from him. We go back to Anzac Day last year, and we just have to look at that performance. But I just don't think he's quite there yet with this side. And, we could be wrong. He could come out and have a massive game. But, yeah, for me, I'm just leaning Dill Brown at the moment.
Yep. Same with me. I think he's best of a bunch that's not amazing, but probably not going to ruin your side too much if he doesn't go well. He can definitely break some tackles and be creative close to the line. But, probably want to see those combinations improve a little bit further before we're really confident in Dill Brown. Mate, what about your fullback spot? We see Kalen Ponga on screen there. There's Tommy Trbojevic just about to come out of the screen, out of the tunnel. Those three are locked in, I presume. Can Kalen Ponga go back to his massive 90-plus score last week? Will it be a flash in the pan, or do you still expect something pretty decent around the 50 or 60-point mark? Is that still a possibility at Four Pines de Savo?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that Kalen Ponga and Travojevic are probably going to have a big game against each other, which is great to see. But I think, we talked about it earlier that Ko Weeks had a pretty good game against the Sea Eagles last week, albeit he didn't really have too many attacking stats, and I think he still ended up on about 45 points. So we know how good Kalen Ponga is, and we know how much, probably, look, at this stage, how much better he is in terms of a running fullback and a creative fullback than Ko Weeks is, albeit Ko Weeks has got some unreal spark to him. I think that Kalen Ponga is going to do something special today. And if the Knights, as I said, are to get up against a Manly side that will want a bit of revenge, I think the Knights will have to rely on Kalen Ponga. Obviously, there's plenty of upside for Kalen Ponga. So over someone like a Keanu Kinney that you could play, or one of the centres or wingers as well, Kalen Ponga is that third fullback or the third back on the bench that I'm going to play for that upside. So, yeah, hopefully he has a big game, and hopefully, he's able to be picked for the Kiwi side and can do some good things for the Kiwis come the World Cup.
And we've just had a kickoff there. Was that KP that kicked off? And is that a forced drop? If so, because the Sea Eagles have absolutely bottled that kickoff return, and they're on the back foot now with a dropout coming out of their own end. I think you're right, mate. I think if whichever team wins, it'll probably be because their number one played a big role in it. So if the Knights get up, probably expect Kalen Ponga to have plenty of fantasy points. If Tommy Turbo and the Manly Sea Eagles get up, we'll probably expect that number one to score plenty of points. Let's just hope it's for the sake of our fantasy teams, let's just hope it's a big 38-36 type scoreline, and those two just have an absolute field day. We've got the Knights on the attack, mate. Can they cross first? What do you reckon?
Mate, how poor was that from Lukey Brooks? He was probably 2 meters from the end goal there, and the Knights on the attack straight away. Hopefully they work the ball across to the right side and then back to the left, and we can get a bit of a connection from.
I must be in front of you because I've just seen a try to Greggy Marju.
How good is that? Straight up. Didn't even get to finish my sentence, and they're already over. How good is that? Straight into it. Look, we talked about Greggy Marju being the winger that we selected. I actually went the other side, and I played the pod in Dominic Young, so I've actually already stuffed myself for the Sunday Showdown. Anyone that's followed our consensus side, well done to you. You already got one up on me. That looked way too easy, hey?
Yeah, it did. Nice by Kalen Ponga, obviously creating that extra man. And Bradman Best is really good at what he does. And I just got a glimpse of the touch judge there. Big shout out to Tyson Ruff making another game down there on the sideline. He'll be thrilled to have his name mentioned on this show, I'm sure.
He'll be able to catch up a little bit later on. Look, a massive shout out as well to Zoe. I know that she's watching up the sunny coast today. She's a brand new user to GameDay Squad and is pretty keen to get involved. So g'day, Zoe. Hope you're having a great day up the sunny coast. She might even pop down for the Dolphins game, she said, later today. So
nice.
It should be some unreal weather. Mate, it looked like that was just some pretty soft defence, and something we always see a lot from wingers, and I absolutely hate it, is they jam in on absolutely no one, and they're just clutching at straws. You can see Jason Saab there. He made the tackle, but it just wasn't good enough. I don't understand this play. Is this something that wingers are coached to do, that they're told jam in hard, put pressure on that inside player, and just let that winger slide through? Or is it just a poor decision from most wingers in the NRL?
Well, it happens so frequently. You're almost led to believe they're coached to make poor decisions, or there's not enough coaching on that decision-making aspect. We see it far too frequently. And there's even a try, when was it? Early on, and I think I'm going to hit myself because I can't remember, but it might have been one of AJ's first try, wasn't it? Where Rob Toya had Latrell Mitchell covered up and actually brought him to ground, and who was it there? Mark Nwangani-Tuase came in off AJ to help out Toya get Mitchell, even though Mitchell was falling to the ground, wrapped up around the waist by Toya, and it was just an easy run to the try line from AJ. Surely, if Nwangani-Tuase had any trust, or could see what was happening, he would have seen Latrell going to ground, and the head-on shot would have been really frustrating there for Trent Robinson. I think that Nwangani-Tuase was just absolutely in no man's land. And allowed that first try from AJ. Maybe it was a set plan that they would allow AJ That's just getting maybe too deep into some conspiracy theories there. But yeah, look, wingers, they're fast. They can finish well, but some of their defensive reads are pretty poor. And I think that's a big reason why, Greggy Marju was on the outer at the Gold Coast Titans quite a bit for his defensive reads. And he's probably a couple of bad defensive reads away from having a spell in Q Cup or something. But it's good to see that he was on the end of a nice attacking try there, and it was that big man in Jason Saab that might need to learn how to improve that defense a little bit. But the Knights are going to see how simple that was, and they're going to keep going back to that edge. And shortly, it'll be a short ball to Dill Lucas as well when those outside backs want to hold off a little bit. And that's when, I think Dill Lucas is likely to slide through a bit of space pretty soon too. Yeah,
definitely. Look, someone we didn't talk about too is a really interesting pick, and for anyone that did play him, you could be rewarded. That's Phoenix Crossland. We don't really talk about him too often, and I think we joked on one of our early shows that Phoenix Crossland was a international NRL, rugby league player. But it's somebody that I think might have a big game today as well. In fact, just having a look at the percentages, he's 29% owned, which is the second most owned in terms of hooker. Is that someone that you sort of had a look at and thought maybe there's an opportunity? He played some big minutes back in Vegas, and he did a lot of tackling, and he can be a little bit creative at times as well. We've seen him play in the halves. Is that someone that you thought about at all, or did you skip straight past him based on purely on his name?
No, it's funny. I make just about all of my teams Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening when team lists come out. And then as we get closer to Thursday, the primetime team gets a bit of a change, and then the champion and the challenger teams. I don't really look at the Sunday Showdown too frequently, since there's a lot of water under the bridge between Tuesday and Sunday. I opened the app this morning and had a bit of a play around with it. Phoenix Crossland was in my side, was on my bench, so I'd had Simpkin starting, obviously, and Phoenix Crossland on the bench there. It didn't take me too long to look at that name and click it and find someone different, but he was clearly in my thoughts on Tuesday, and I think it was because he did have a big score in that round one. Obviously, Sandon Smith going down injured. Fletcher Sharp going down injured early meant that Sandon Smith did go into the halves there, so that was obviously not by design. It's just interesting to see what the Knights might do with their bench rotation, and even if he doesn't play the full 80 at hooker, he's every chance to play a bit of time in the back row as well. So, yeah, I think he'll be a guy that can get through plenty of base points, and if he does it again, I think he'll become a real option at some point. It won't be pretty, but he'll certainly get through plenty of points.
Definitely. And look, 52 against the Cowboys after 80 minutes, 48 tackles, very few running meters. He did miss 3 tackles, though, which obviously is that -3 per missed tackle, which is a bit frustrating. But still 52 points from Phoenix Crossland is probably not on anyone's bingo card to start the season. Look, we've got Mel finally joining us. Welcome, Mel. Better late than never. Sorry, lads, had family drop in unannounced. Nothing worse than family dropping in unannounced to ruin your Sunday showdown.
Footy.
Alrighty. Looks like they're going upstairs for this try here. I think you're slightly ahead of me, Stu, so you'll probably get the review before me.
Yeah, it did go upstairs. There's no try. Looks like Jason Saab has just tapped the ball forward back infield, but very close to a try there. The ball just sort of sat up from a Fogarty grubber. And if Saab had got a bit more of a hand to it, he could have tapped it back, and Garrick was right there to plan it down. So no try. It's a full set here to the Knights, and Dobby Young, a nice strong carry up there to the 30 from the left-hand side of the field. You'll be liking every touch that Dom Young is making, yes, and you'll be hoping that ball goes right a bit more frequently. But the Knights are having plenty of success down the left at the moment, and obviously that's where we know Kalen Ponga can thrive. Just as I said, there's a nice little shift there to the right, and Dom Young 2 touches in the one set.
It's what you like to see. Look, just interesting on that defensive set there from the Knights, and the way that Greggy Marju defended that little grubber. He stopped in the way to try and stop Jason Saab. Again, I think it's another poor decision from a winger. Rather than attack the ball to try and stop your opposition winger from getting to the ball, I'd rather see my players just try and get all over the ball. Look, if you give a repeat set away, so be it. But, there's every chance that wingers are that good now, or any player's almost that good now, that they can tap back, they can throw the ball back on a dime to try and get, as many players around that ball as possible. So, again, it's another poor decision, really, from a winger this time, or again, defensively, that I don't like. It's pretty frustrating sometimes watching wingers play rugby league.
Fortunately, we don't lose points for bad reads or bad decisions from wingers. So, look, like you said earlier, Jacob Saab's poor decision led to some fantasy points from Greggy Marju. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, definitely frustrating if you've got a bit of skin in this game and you're fans of either team. Greg Marju on one wing, Jason Saab on the other. Yeah, fans would be pretty nervous every time the ball gets shifted out to that edge, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we've got Michael Cozzi here having a chat with Mel. Did you sign any of the family members up to GDS? I really hope Mel did, because
good call.
We haven't even talked about our Sunday superstars yet, because we've been too engrossed in our footy and our consensus team. But let's get to our Sunday superstar, and let's start with that person, Mel. Look, Mel should be signing up as many people as possible, because I've got it on good authority that Tom from GameDay Squad has announced Mel as the new CEO of the company. That's right. She is the Community Engagement Officer. So she is getting around all sorts of awesome promotions. We'll come back to that.
Passage of play.
We'll come back to that in a second. Kalen Ponga with a couple of fens straight through the line. 3 broken tackles and offload.
Young. Oh, no, you're not going to like this passage of play. I should stop spoiling it. Oh, no, this is funny.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Oh, man, I'm like a minute behind you here, the way it goes. Oh, no.
He had a half a chance there.
He probably wouldn't have got there. That was a bit tight for him. But yeah, look, Mel has been doing some unreal things in the GDS community. She is trying to get everyone involved as much as she can. We've got the NRL tipping competition, the AFL tipping competition. The NRL and AFL beat the coach. This week was Tom. And I actually haven't caught up with Tom yet to see how he's going. I know that he opened a couple of packs at the end of last week, and just his luck, he got 2 legends. One of them being Matty Nicholson, and the other one being Kai Pearce-Paul, the ex-Knight, now a Tiger, who had an unreal game yesterday. So a couple of really good legends there. Hopefully he didn't play them in his classic side, because we'd all be struggling for sure if he played that Kai Pearce-Paul. So Mel, congratulations on that new appointment by GameDay Squad. Plenty of things to come from you, I am sure. And you can see there that Herbie Farmworth is her Sunday superstar. The word from Mel when I spoke to her yesterday was that, look, everyone's going to be playing Herbie. You'd be silly not to. So load up as much salary as you can on Herbie so that you can get that benefit there. So, yeah, big salary on Herbie. Kalen Ponga is your Sunday superstar, mate. Only 4% of coaches have played the Kalen Ponga Diamond. So you expect a big game from KP today?
Yeah, and we've already got glimpses already chimed in there down the left when they scored the first try. Didn't get the assist. That obviously went to Bradman Best, but look, put his arm straight through Lukey Brooks' sternum and then broke 2 or 3 more tackles. Looks very dangerous. He's obviously kicking goals and kicked a nice one there from the sideline too. The Knights are full of attack at the moment, and yeah, he's looking super dangerous. So not the diamond in my side. I didn't actually have a diamond today, just because my Herbie diamond was used elsewhere. And I thought there were quite a few players that would be pretty nicely played. And I won't say anything, but I'll let you commentate the next maybe 30 seconds of gameplay.
Okay, all right. We've got Phoenix Cross. Lind pass to Ponga. Long ball to Dom Young into the corner, surely. Nice. Dom Young, easy as you like. Wasn't even a big long ball, a little bit of a Sydney Harbour Bridge ball there. Was that I didn't see who threw that pass. Was that Jermaine McEwen?
Dill Brown.
Was it Dill Brown? Was it perfect? How good's that? Just a simple play, nothing really in it. Didn't look like even the Knights really engaged the line too much. Ponga with a couple of steps, a little skip to the outside. Just a couple of poor Lukey Brooks probably turning in a bit too much. Just a pretty poor read overall. It wasn't anything creative or special. Just a lovely ball over the top. Oh, and look at that. The winger turning in again. trying to trying to make a big play. Just hold your line, boys. Come on.
Plenty of wing slander on a Sunday afternoon, but both wingers have shown that they can finish when they get half a sniff. So you take the good with the bad. And in our case, we've got one try to Greggy Marju, one try to Dom Young for you, a Dyl Brown assist for both of us. Things have started pretty well. And we spoke earlier about Ruben Garrick not being an option for us. I just had a quick refresh of the live scores. I think he's still sitting in the negatives, and that's not great for any Ruben Garrick owners. Yeah, he's minus 3.5 at the moment. Got 3 Sea Eagles in negatives, with Lukey Brooks minus 2.9. Jason Saab is minus 0.9 as Ponga kicks his second from 2. And I'll give you a quick points update after that try. This is all through the GameDay Squad live stat center, which is fantastic that the points get updated so quickly. We've got Greggy Marju sitting atop with 22.8 points. Kalen Ponga right on his back, 21.9. Haumole Olakawatu is Manly's best point scorer at the moment with 13. And we probably expect Dommy Young to jump up there into the high teens pretty soon when that try gets added. Tommy Turbo watch for those people that played Tommy Turbo. Not good, 0.5. Not in the negatives at the moment, but 13 minutes into the match and barely got off that 0. So Kalen Ponga, a big win over Tommy Turbo at the moment. We've also got Jamal Fogarty just on the 1.83 as well. So a couple of big named Manly Sea Eagles players not doing too much at the moment.
Yeah, it's good for anyone that did play Kalen Ponga, any of the Knights wingers, but hopefully we can see a bit of a bounce back from the Sea Eagles, although our good mate G-Train or Gordon has just put a comment into our chat and said, what is happening with my Knights? Where are my Knights gone? Because he's used to them not playing so well. So good on G-Train for continuing to support them. Look, Coach Stephen, welcome, mates. Glad you could join us. It's not too late to put together a Sunday team, although this first game is obviously locked out, so you are going to miss any Knights or Sea Eagles players, but you can always chuck in a full squad of Dolphins and Titans for sure. So make sure you get as many of those players in that you can. Get a full squad together, even if you have to put in a couple of silvers of other players from other teams. You can do so. I'm loving the early crow here from Stu. It
Watch
means
this.
I'm ready to commentate. So Olakawatu takes a hit up from the scrum. Lukey Brooks at dummy half. Little pass to Jamal. Straight through, little dummy. And the speed of Jamal Fogarty. Breaks one tackle, a line break, and just gets on the outside of Kalen Ponga. He didn't look like he did too much. But the little bloke's legs were going like anything I've seen before. And just a nice, easy try again. Mate, this is going to be a massive scoreline the way this game is going. It's unreal to see.
25-metre run from Fogarty did push off a very poor attempt by Phoenix Crossland, covering through the inside there. He's got to call his touches louder, I think. Phoenix,
I was going to say.
The referee didn't hear him call that touch loud enough. But, Jamal Fogarty, he was also a very late play in my champion side. Off it was Cameron Munster. I had sitting in my side there yesterday, but I didn't know about the Storm, so I thought I'll give Fogarty another run in my side. He doesn't have the red gloss around him because I did run out of salary in the champion side, which is really interesting that we can run out of salary now in champion. We're not used to that, but that's really nice. Jamal Fogarty, particularly for those coaches that left him out of their sides. What do we say? 75% or something? Maybe we can get some updated numbers soon, but 2 from 2 tries for Fogarty. He's on track for 24 tries this season.
That would be unreal. Look, just quietly, I did play his diamond in my challenger side, which was, as I said, my pod side. So that is coming up trumps so far with what he's just done there. I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully that can get me into some cash at the end of the weekend. Look, we've got Mian G Gaming in as well. Hello, legend. He did some unreal work for the Fantasy Bros this year at the T20 World Cup. We really appreciate all the work that he did, as do everyone else that was in that competition. He worked tirelessly day in, day out to give us a full preview as well as his top 5. So, Mian, mate, you're an absolute legend. Welcome to the stream, and hopefully you put together a pretty decent Sunday Showdown side for sure. Alrighty, the last Sunday superstar for me, it is Hammer. He had a big game last week, obviously, in the wet. He did score a try, and I think it got him up to about 60 points. And I expect him to have another big one today in the dry up against the Titans. Pretty woeful defense. We saw even William Kennedy have a big game last week for the Sharks. And everyone knows how much we love giving Will Kennedy some rubbish when he's playing. So if Will Kennedy can do it, then I think Hammer has every chance to have a massive game. So I have loaded up on a bit of salary with the Hammer. I just think that he's going to have one of those games where he might come away with 3 tries and it's fins up all day. And the crowd is absolutely loving everything that the Hammer does. So it should be a big game from him. Those are our Sunday superstars. But look, we've got a little bit of time left. We probably will head off soon unless everyone wants to stick around and listen to us commentate. Stu react, and then I commentate the following try in the game. But we might give away some cards. So we've got a gold Katoa, a gold Tino, and a plat Cobbo for this afternoon's games to still be able to get into your side if you like. So I'll just give everyone a couple more minutes. At the moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, 7 coaches, in that giveaway draw. All you need to do to get involved is to comment on the stream. You don't even have to have your comment show up. It just has to come up on our stream here. We don't necessarily have to bring it up on screen. So I'll give you a few more minutes there, and we'll talk through a couple of other things, footy, and then we might call it a day. Mate, one thing that we talked about last week that I spent a little bit of time talking to Longy about is a couple of the new rules. How do you think this new rule around going up with 2 hands to take a catch, to bat back, whatever it is, I feel like it's all of a sudden changed straight away and the interpretation has changed. The referees are now saying as long as you attempt to go up with 2 hands, you can still use 1. Is this just creating this grey area where particularly fans and spectators are just unsure about what's happening and how to go about watching this and then supporting that play?
Yeah, it's almost like it seems like they're making it up on the go. Sort of understand that they want to get rid of the disruptor or the early jump, or something that could be a little bit dangerous to fullbacks or wingers that have their eye off the footy. But I think it's just creating more confusion than anything. And you've even seen a number of the players being confused and sort of questioning the decision. What they're thinking is just normal football is all of a sudden, becoming a penalty or, a loss of possession. And we've seen a try taken off a couple of teams already this season. As Kalen Ponga takes a bit of a shot to the ribs, that was some big intent there from Tolakula. As soon as that ball lands, he's just gone bang. The tackle was fine. The bit of grubbery at the end of it with the push in the head, not so fine. But Kalen Ponga might be a little bit sore after that knock, but he is back up on his feet.
He's a tough bloke, Kalen Ponga. He's had to deal with plenty of injuries in the past, head knocks, foot injuries, etc. So hopefully he gets up and plays the rest of this game. But you're right, that little push in the head at the end there, it's something we really don't like in this game. Look, talking about a grub, there's no bigger grub in the past than Jerome Luai. And one of our mates, Osto, is a massive Tigers fan and used to hate Jerome Luai. And since he's moved to the Tigers, he's now a massive fan of him. And he mentioned the other day he thinks that the grubbery has sort of gone out of Jerome Luai. Do you think that's the case? Do you think that now he's moved from the Panthers, he's a bit less of a grub, or do we still think once a Panther grub, always a Panther grub?
He's certainly wearing those orange tinted glasses, I think, Benny. I think he even had Jerome Buller as one of the top 5 fullbacks in the competition. So I think that's all you need to know about how he feels. But Jerome Luai was fantastic yesterday, wasn't he? And he played unreal. But is he a flat track bully? Are we going to see more of that? As Tommy Turbo just takes on Phoenix Crossland 1-on-1 close to the line, and it looks like he's gotten there. Sorry to steal your commentary thunder, but
all right, mate. You commentate. Go ahead.
But Tommy Turbo,
all its glory,
1-on-1 close to the line off the base of the scrum. He's just so good that he can carry a bloke 10 meters with him on his back across the line. And Phoenix Crossland, the international footballer, makes very high contact. I don't know about that, and then just gets carried for a bit of a ride for 7 or 8 meters close to the try line, and Tommy plants it down. for another try to someone in our team, and just the 75% played Tommy Turbo. That's nice and handy there for coaches, and particularly if you've got Tommy Turbo in a few of your other competitions as well. We spoke on Wednesday night that the fullback position was very tough. I actually took Ponga out of one of my teams, the Savo, to put Turbo in to make sure I had a bit of Tom Trebojevic, just in case we saw Manly go off at home in the afternoon. They can be a 40-point side at home, we know, and I didn't want to sit here and not have Tommy in the side. So very happy for a try from him after a really red-hot start to Kalen Ponga to close those scores a little bit there.
You know what the best thing about that try was? The cameraman went across to the old love in the crowd, and she gave us a "That's Gold." I don't think I've seen a "That's Gold" in about 15 years, and some of our younger viewers might not even know what that is. Mate, that's unreal to see that still getting around. That's great. Let's bring that back. The other thing I wish that they'd bring back is try celebrations. I used to love the old full team try celebration. And then the end of season compilation from the Footy Show, getting all the best try celebrations. We don't really see them anymore. Is it because footy's going too professional and we just need to get on with business, or is it maybe a bit of humbling, or what do we think?
No, I think the NRL do such a great job with Try July for try celebrations in the month of July, where I think it's Sportsbet donate $5,000 to some very important charities like the Cancer Foundation. And because there's such a big sort of spotlight on try celebrations in that month, it's almost as though the players forget about it and are doing all their preparation or want to save their best ones for the month of July. So I'm sure they're practicing their try sellies. We're just not seeing them as frequently as we might like. But come July, we might we might have to judge the best try celebration each week or something, and give out that player card. We can do something about the try celebrate. We love it.
Yes.
But I think July will be the month that we see, and the girls get involved in it as well in the NRLW, which is awesome to see. And they even had some better ones than the boys as well. They certainly spend a lot of time planning their celebrations too. Manly on a bit
just
of a roll
quickly
here.
before we head off, we'll get some prizes out in a moment. Firstly, NRL D3F, welcome to the stream, mate. He's picking Herbie as his Sunday superstar, I believe. Congrats, mates, on getting involved in the giveaway. We'll get to there soon. One player we didn't talk about that I sort of had on my list as a potential pod, Jermaine McEwen. He didn't have a massive game against the Cowboys in Vegas. Played 68 minutes, 34 GDS points. He did give away 3 penalties. Was that someone you looked at purely based on what Noah Martin did the week prior to the Seagulls and that potential opportunity that Jermaine McEwen might have down that right side, or was that more based on the fact that he didn't put in a big effort, he didn't have a huge output in the week prior, so we're not going to pick someone like Jermaine McEwen?
Yeah, I just don't see him as an accumulator in terms of his stats. He's okay in defence at times. He's okay when he trucks the ball up. He did make an error early on, which isn't great to see for any owners. He's still sitting on just 5.5 points currently. I just don't see him as an accumulator and just someone that sort of just goes missing a little bit too much. So, he wasn't someone that I considered, even if there's a decent matchup. I think the player's got to be really conducive to fantasy point scoring to take advantage of that matchup, and he just doesn't strike me as that kind of player yet. Eventually, as he grows into the role and gets plenty of football under his belt, then maybe. But no, not the type of player I think that can accumulate fantasy points at the rate we'd like. You just compare that to Dill Lucas at the moment, other side of the field, hasn't done anything yet in terms of attacking stats, but Dill Lucas is on 20.8. And Jermaine McEwen, still down there at 5.5. So I think that just tells you that the difference in sort of commitment to roll the sleeves up and get involved and also keep the tackle numbers nice and high. I agree. Look, just a quick update on points as well if you aren't on the GameDay Squad app. Tom Trebojevic, 33.6 after that try. Jamal Fogarty, 32.8. Interesting, Kalen Ponga hasn't really had too much of an attack. He sort of put his nose through a couple of times. He's on 24.9, so almost 25 GDS points.
So really interesting there that he's accumulating pretty quick. We just need to see one sort of run from Ponga, and I think we're going to be in for a big day from him. And as you said, Dill Lucas, 20.8. Bill Brown, 19.7. Happy to see Gregory Marju out ahead of his wing partner in Dom Young. So Gregory Marju on 24.9, while Dom Young's on 16.1. So we obviously
here we go.
Get a little bit more.
Knights have made a break. Bradman Best finds Kalen Ponga, and Ponga's back in front of Tommy Turbo with the try, and he's about to kick the goal as well. Gee, there's going to be a lot of points on this afternoon, isn't there, across both games? That was a bit too easy.
That was a poor missed tackle from Ruben Garrick. Jason Saab working his hardest to get back, but that's a broken tackle as well from Kalen Ponga. So not only do we get the try, we get the broken tackle. Bradman Best, if you brought him into your side, you get the line break there as well, and the broken tackle and the try assist. So some big points there. Although Kalen Ponga's getting up, hobbling a little bit. Has he got an ankle?
He did cop a shot from Jamal Fogarty, sat him on his butt. So I think he might just be a little bit winded.
Be a little bit winded and still run the length of the field to back up a try, a line break and score a try.
How quick did Saab motor him down? He almost got there, hey?
Oh, he's worked hard there. It's great work. It's just such a simple play, just the short ball, turning Garrick back on the inside, didn't have anyone supporting him inside. And then Bradman Best has done a great job keeping the ball out in two hands. A great way to show young players to draw and pass their ball in two hands, out in front, keeping the eye line of Tommy Trbojevic, turning him back in, and then giving that ball. Trbojevic had to make that decision to go with the ball player rather than the supporting player, and it means that Ponga gets over for a try, hopefully.
Got Ponga with the trainer here, so Sandon Smith will kick the goal. Doesn't look too concerning for Kalen Ponga, but obviously he'll want to get to the halftime break and maybe get some treatment or something. There's 13 minutes to go until halftime, but Sandon Smith slots that nice and easy. Ponga walking back into position, so no immediate concern about him leaving the field. It might just be a bit of pain tolerance, or it might just need a bit of something, bit of magic something in the sheds at halftime. But gee, that was really nice. What's the score? There's plenty of points available already, and we've still got 13 left. I'm just looking at the current live stats, and I've got about 8 of the top 8 blokes until it gets to Luke Brooks. I'm liking Jacob Saifiti and Trey Mooney as well. They're getting through some decent base points. And Ben Trbojevic, Taniela Paseka, getting okay points for Manly as well, who weren't really in consideration for me. But Ponga, Fogarty, Trbojevic, the 3 players above 30 points at the moment. You love to see it.
Yeah. Tracy Walls jumped in. Welcome, Tracy. Ponga, not good. I'm assuming that is health-wise. Hopefully we do keep Ponga on the field. Hopefully just a bit of magic water will do the trick there. As you say, 13 minutes or just less than into half-time. Hopefully he can make it through and we can see a bit more from him. You can see Ruben Garrick. I've just seen the vision of him being put on report. Went down on top of Ponga with the elbow into the head. So really, Ponga's taken a bit of a knock quite a few times. One to the ribs, one to the head, and then another to the ribs. And Jamal Fogarty put on report for that shot as well. I don't know about that. I don't know if it was that late. I mean, in slow motion, everything looks worse, but that's a tough call there for Jamal Fogarty being put on report.
Ponga's certainly feeling the effects. His 2 passes have both found the grass this set, and the trainer's back with him again just before the kick goes up. So, yes. Oh, no, he has left the field. Wow. That's huge. And it looks like it might be a hamstring.
That is not good news. Look, what Ponga going off, what have we got him at currently? Let's just have a quick look at the live scores there from the GDS. We've got 40 GDS points from Kalen Ponga going up the tunnel. that's not good news. 11 minutes to go until the half. Maybe it is just precautionary, and we get just a bit of extra time to deal with the Hemi issue potentially. Doesn't look like great scenes though for Ponga. Mate, the Knights can't take a trick, really, can they? Fletcher Sharp last week was looking their best player for sure, and then Kalen Ponga, their best player so far in this game, and both of them potentially off for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
maybe.
Wow. And this might be where the floodgates open for Manly. Obviously, who we got there is it Fletcher Hunt, who's gone into fullback. Expect maybe Dane Gagai to see some time there. So any pod Gags players, if you can get any extra minutes there at the back, that'll be pretty handy for a GDS score. But Gags is still there on the right. Yeah, I think Manly will take a bit of confidence out of this, seeing no Kalen Ponga in attack there. I think if they can score a try or two before the halftime break, it wouldn't surprise me if they actually go into the break with the lead now.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. Look, you mentioned one player before, Lukey Brooks. He's looking pretty dangerous when he's running with the ball. Hey, he's almost snuck through a couple of times. Potentially, he could have been a massive pod play for anyone that wanted to go potentially the Jamal Fogarty, Luke Brooks option in their halves for sure. As we see Manly coming away from their line. Knights are still making some pretty good work of it here. In defence, they're still aiming up quite hard, but it's going to be whether they can keep it together without their star in the back. Will be interesting to see. Look, Mel, you did notice, yes, the real superstar joining the show. My son just trying to poke his head on screen to try and get involved while he's watching the game with me. Get out of it.
Hey, there he is.
He thinks he's going to be a superstar one day. He's getting involved.
Oh, and I think he's hit you've hit the microphone button.
I tried to mute it while I'm trying to get him away. All right, you never know what's going to happen on a live stream with FantasyBros. Look, let's get to some giveaways, shall we? While we've got the last couple of minutes of this game.
Yeah, let's do
in
it.
The first half. I've got the following people on my spinning wheel who have commented. I've got Ganners, Cozzy, Walkies, Fantasy Stats, Mel's Misfits, Coach Stephen, Mianji Gaming, NRL, D3F, and Tracy Wall. Let's give away some cards right now. Let's get that up on screen, and then I will spin that wheel. The first card I'm giving away is a gold Katoa. So if you are the lucky winner of the gold Katoa, make sure you get that trade up as quick as you can so that you can get them into your side for that second game, because it should be a massive game, that second one. So let's shuffle this wheel now that we can see it on screen. Good luck to everyone involved. I'll give everyone 25 seconds if you haven't got your name on that wheel yet to do so as quick as possible. Alrighty, let's spin that wheel. Let's see. Good luck, everyone. Gold Katoa. And the winner of that is Michael Cozzy.
Well done, mate.
Congrats, Michael Cozzy. Well done. So the gold Katoa, chuck up something on the trade market for gold Katoa, and I will get to that as soon as possible. Definitely before that second game. Alrighty, the second card we've got is a gold Tino, potentially a player that you do want to get into your side. He had a poor game last week. We expected a little bit more from Tino, but hopefully he can have a big game today. Fantasy Stats has won the gold Tino. Congrats, Fantasy Stats. I think his comment before was that he was brand new to the rugby league competition. So I'd say that's perfect card for Fantasy Stats
well done, mate.
to get into that one. Alrighty. And the last card is a Plat Cobbo. And the winner of that is Mel's Misfits,
well
the
done,
CEO of GameDay Squad. There you go, Mel. I've got a Plat Cobbo coming your way.
Now, I don't have the commentary on Dyl, so I'm not sure. I haven't heard what the situation is, but have you noticed that Brandon Wakeham is now on it at the hooker position for Manly?
Oh, that is super disappointing for Jake Simpkin for Simpkin truthers like myself. What's that? 35 minutes. Just a little bit less than 35 minutes on the park so far, maybe 30. So hopefully he's made plenty of tackles and hasn't missed too many. Mel's just updated us and said that it's a right hammy for Ponga at the moment. So we'll try and keep up to date with that. He won't be back.
Ruled out. He's got the ice and the strapping on it. So that might be maybe a couple week injury for him as well. Hope it's a low-grade strain. But, yeah, as soon as he scored that try, he just sort of grabbed it. Surprising that he did stay on the field, but you saw his 2 involvements were ball to ground. So he's obviously he was obviously a little bit sore. So maybe precautionary, nice and minimal, let's hope. But just the 40 points for him this afternoon, and maybe without him for a week or two.
Yeah, again, it's disappointing for Knights fans. Almost a 40-20. Obviously, you're just ahead of me. Tommy Trbojevic does well to keep that in and gains about 10 metres in the run back. Yeah, bit disappointing for the Knights fans, obviously losing Fletcher Sharp for a couple of weeks and now potentially Ponga as well. After they started red hot, and they started this game red hot, it could have been a very different season for the Knights, but we'll just have to wait and see how they go. It's a shame for a lot of GDS coaches as well, because we were super high on Fletcher Sharp, even with the new position tag of back to the halves. And obviously, Kalen Ponga had a massive game last week, and then a lot of players had him this week. But anyone that went with the Keanu Kinney over Kalen Ponga shout, that might be the call of the round for the Fantasy Bros Sunday Showdown, potentially. Obviously, we've still got the big game to come a little bit later this afternoon. But that might be a huge call. Playing Keanu Kinney, maybe even some salary on him instead of Kalen Ponga, you might have just got yourself into the finals of the Sunday Showdown and potentially one step closer to $5,000.
Gee, that'd be a brave decision. But what's also interesting about the Kalen Ponga injury is with Fletcher Hunt coming onto the field, that obviously disrupts the intended rotation. So now as Dylan Brown slices through and gives the ball to that man, Fletcher Hunt, for another try assist, Dylan Brown, that would have been Kalen Ponga backing up there for his second, unfortunately. What position is Fletcher Hunt available in? Because if anyone had a bit of foresight and somehow, for some reason, played him, he's tracking along pretty nicely as well, and we'll get the rest of the match at fullback as well, you'd expect. Now, Dylan Brown is down injured after offloading that ball for the try.
Mate, this game, war of attrition here.
Beautiful flick pass out the back.
Dylan Brown down. Look, a great little play there from Dylan Brown. Just off the right foot, back inside Trbojevic, the flick pass. So he gets the line break, the try assist, probably a tackle break there somewhere as well. And then the flick pass, which was an offload. So there's plenty of fantasy points there for Dylan Brown. Hopefully he's able to get up and continue playing.
Hold the press. Team lists for the second game have just dropped, and there is some exciting news.
All righty, let's get to that. Talk us through this exciting news. I'm hoping that it's Matt Plath named to start.
Well, we said it earlier. We said if there's any movement with that 90-minute out from kickoff team lists and we see Schneider back to the bench and Plath in, then he becomes a serious play. And that's exactly what's happened. Plath has moved to hooker with Schneider on the bench. Now, it doesn't necessarily guarantee him 80 minutes, but definitely something that I'm happy to gamble with, I think.
Yeah.
We could even see some minutes through the middle. If Schneider does come on to play hooker, it doesn't mean it will be a one-for-one swap. Plath is obviously pretty damaging ball runner, but also a bit of a tackle bot there in the middle of the field. So it wouldn't surprise me to see one of the middle forwards getting a rest when Schneider comes on and Plath staying on the field. It would just sort of depend on whether or not the coach thinks that his match fitness is there and he can go the distance. But definitely the change that we were hoping for. Let's just hope it pays off now. Are you going to get him back into your side now?
Yep. He's straight back into my side, definitely based on that. Yeah, every chance he can play 80 minutes and play a couple of different roles there. Like I said, we've seen him play on the edge, we've seen him play at lock, and then obviously he's starting in that hooker role. At least that's what they've named so far. You never know what they're going to do, and they might do a little switcheroo again. But at this stage, he's definitely into my side. Just quickly for those that maybe Fletcher Hunt truthers, he's available on the wing, so potentially that could have been an option there for you. So definitely that could have been a pod. Dill Brown still hobbling around a little bit. Hopefully he's going to be all right. But I think the big thing here for me is that it probably means that Phoenix Crossland's going to get a full 80 as well.
Another try to the Knights. Tommy Turbo won't want to see this highlight.
Sandon Smith, a bomb, 50 metres out. Tom Trbojevic on the 10. Goes to fall to take the ball and just loses it. And Frizzell just picks
Johnny
it up.
On the spot.
Johnny
Tyson on the spot.
And pretty much falls over the line. He had a sea eagle on his back there, but just all too easy. Tommy Trbojevic trying to sort of cushion the ball, take the fall, so he missed getting the big hit. I think maybe he was more worried about getting smashed as he caught the ball than actually securing the ball to begin with. Dom Young, Greggy Marju right in front of his face there when he was about to receive the ball from that bomb. So I wouldn't want Greggy Marju lining me up either. So I can see why Tommy Trbojevic potentially dropped to the ground. And then as I said, Tyson Frizzell carrying Jason Saab. I think he's double his weight. Tyson Frizzell carrying Jason Saab over the line, nice and easy.
Just the red button.
Alrighty, it's pretty much the end of the half, so we might leave it there. It's been an unreal show once again. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Those people that have won something, once again, it is Michael Cozzi, you won the gold Katoa card. Fantasy Stats, you won the gold Tino. And then Mel's Misfits, you won the Plat Cobo. So make sure you get something up. You can put any card up you like, and I will get those cards to you as soon as possible, pretty much as soon as I jump off this. Mel was welcoming Fantasy Stats as well. Welcome to GDS. I hope you're having a great time. So do we. Fantasy Stats, you are more than welcome to join us every Wednesday and every Sunday. It is always Fantasy Bros Wednesday, and it is always Fantasy Bros Sunday. Our next Sunday Showdown is coming to you live Sunday, March the 22nd. It'll be another 2:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time kickoff, where we'll go through all the team lists, the updates, the salary pods, as well as who we think is going to be the Sunday superstar. Stu, last minute or so, the halftime whistle has just gone. Any last thoughts from you before we head off and we enjoy a game and a half of footy still to come on this Sunday Showdown?
30 points to 10. The Knights are in front. But honestly, I'd still give Manly a bit of a chance here. Coming home with obviously no Kalen Ponga. The Manly Knights forwards are going to have to do a bit more work. 40 points in the first half. Wouldn't surprise me if we see another 40. And then 60 or 80 points this afternoon. Gee, some of the scores are going to be big this round. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good luck, Dill. And I'll see you all Wednesday.
Thank you very much. See you Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. See you later.